Scottsdale, Torch, plug for
Your
Torch.
favorite, yeah.
And we watched this. It was irresistible. I must say, though, I was literally watching through spread fingers because if Tyson lands one of those lefts and hits Roy Jones, it's oh my God. It's oh my God. Turn away from the TV. But I would pay to watch it again. Would you?
I didn't pay this time because I didn't even know it was paid. I didn't even know it was on. I would watch him, but I'd watch him for free. And what I did get to watch for free was your friend Charles Barkley and Phil Mickelson and Peyton Manning and Steph Curry. And I will say now what I said a month ago when this was announced. Any of you people who think that because it's alternate shot, that somehow a football player and a basketball player are going to beat Phil Mickelson, you're idiots. He's a professional golfer. All Barkley had to do was put it on something green, and Phil was going to get it near the hole. I mean,
aren't you impressed Charles did that, though?
So crazy. It's like if I go up to you and I go, Phil's working on his three. He's pretty good with the three. I think he could beat Steph Curry. And you go, what?
You'd be a fool.
He can't beat the greatest three-point shooter of all time. What are you talking about?
People don't respect golf as much as they should, and the skill and the nerve it takes. Charles walked off the golf course into the clubhouse where I was sitting among others, and he said, and I quote, "What are people doing betting against a pro? You always take the pro." And of course, Charles is right.
Crazy.
He knew who his partner is.
Crazy.
And that was you liked that event, didn't you?
Nuts.
Wasn't it fun?
And by the way, Phil Mickelson is so great talking. He can go on TV and talk
Phil's
about
great.
all sports. He's that good. Enough email.
Yes, he is.
So there I am earlier in the week, DC, and I have to say, one thing that kind of grinds my gears, I love boxing. You know I love boxing. I've been watching boxing long before I watched MMA. I mean, I grew up in Montreal, which is one of the all-time great fight towns. There's a guy named Davey Hilton and Stefan Ouellet, the Otis Grant and Howard Grant, the Grant brothers. I mean, boxing in Montreal is legendary stuff. And so I love boxing. And one thing that grinds my gears is I find that the boxing community, sometimes they get a little sanctimonious. They get a little bit like high on their britches, and they're like, oh, this is good, this is not good. Oh, we talk about belts, we talk about commission. And all week long, they're complaining about this Tyson Jones fight. All week long, they're complaining about the rules. They're complaining about this. These same people, DC, 4 months ago when this fight was announced, were saying, 250-year-old guys should not be fighting. Oh, they're going to ruin their legacy. It's not safe. What kind of commission would sanction this thing? Fight week. And by the way, the rules have been out for months. They somehow stumble upon the fact that, oh, wait, 2-minute rounds, 8 rounds, 12-ounce gloves, no knockouts. Like, oh, what's going on here? And they're creating this whole big stink all week long, not enjoying the event. And guess what? It turned out to be one of the most fun events of 2020. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., Staples Center, Mauro Ranallo, Israel Adesanya, Snoop Dogg on the call. That was fun. In the end, it ended in a draw. Probably my least favorite part of the night was the fact that it ended in a draw because, of course, we all know that Tyson won. But come on, you have to admit, you, A, love that, and B, Mike Tyson exceeded expectations. It wasn't embarrassing. It didn't hurt his legacy. In fact, it probably helped his legacy. At 54, we saw vintage Mike throwing hooks with power and ferocity. It was fun. It's okay to have fun, boxing community. It's okay to have fun.
You know what's so crazy about boxing is, like, I love boxing. Like I've said stories time and time again about growing up watching in Louisiana. But people start to worry, boxing is dead. Boxing is dead. But when the world starts to pay attention, right? And pay attention when it's not just Canelo or it's not just Floyd. People were paying attention for Mike and Roy, even though it may not have been at the highest level. It's still, everybody was paying attention on boxing. And now you want to become peeved and everybody's up in an uproar. When the reality is, and I said this on my Instagram the other day, which got hundreds of thousands of views. I was like, hey, if someone told me, Daniel, you can go to Tyson Ranch, you're going to watch Roy Jones and Mike Tyson spar. All you got to do is pay $50. I'm like, hey, take my $50. I'm going.
Spar with headgear, right?
With headgear. Yeah, they can wear shin pads. They can wear elbow pads. We just need to make sure these guys are protected. I would have went and watched those guys spar.
Me too.
So for it to be happening, again, honestly, I was worried. Oh, man, Mike's going to try to hurt him and Roy Jones might not be able to do this. And how are they going to control him? Because the last Mike we saw, he was a madman and quit on the stool from biting. All these other things we had saw told us that Mike Tyson would lose his mind out there this weekend. But he didn't. He fought well. And Roy Jones fought good at times. Mike Tyson was much more prepared for this fight than Roy Jones was.
Amen.
Is that safe to say?
Yes.
Mike was much more prepared than Roy, right?
Yes.
He was in shape.
Yes.
He was doing these rounds like nothing. He was doing the 2-minute rounds and going back to the corner.
He could have gone 3-minute rounds. Roy couldn't.
He could have fought 12 minutes. He could have fought 12 rounds. Mike Tyson looked like at 55 years old, he could have fought 12 3-minute rounds, maybe not with the ferocity that he had back in the 90s, but still. And he looked good. His punches looked good. Combinations looked good. And at times, we saw vintage Roy Jones. One time, Roy Jones threw a jab. Boom. Popped Mike Tyson, right? Step with the left foot in front. Like, Roy Jones always was a guy that could cross his feet. Something you're told not to do in boxing. Roy hit him with the jab. Boom. Left foot cross. Came back. Step pivot. Turned back to the center. And he was like, wow. I remember watching Roy Jones do this in his heyday where he would pop you with the jab, move, circle back to the center, and you're chasing. Mike was chasing him. I remember watching Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's head movement looked great.
Amazing.
Dude, that was crazy. The way he was like seeing the punches and slipping, mind you, he partied himself a little bit before he left the locker room. Like it's crazy that these guys were able to do this. Bro, it was fantastic. I loved every single part of it. I didn't like the draw. Mike won and give it to him, but he was fine with it.
They had these three old, they had Christy Martin and Chad Dawson.
I was watching, dude. Vinny Pazienza scored a fight. And they were showing his card. I was like, what is Vinny Paz doing? What is Vinny Paz watching?
But DC, when Mike Tyson fought Kevin McBride in 2005 in Washington, D.C., the Mike Tyson who fought on Saturday beats that Mike Tyson from 15 years ago.
55-year-old Mike Tyson today,
54 to be exact, yes.
Leave that Kevin McBride from 2005, age that he was at that moment, and put him in with the 55-year-old Mike Tyson from last weekend. That Mike Tyson would beat Kevin McBride.
It felt like a big event. It looked like Pride. The ring was all white. The lighting was great. Tyson was ready. And so the question is, like, does Mike Tyson have something here with this?
No. Listen. I don't want to see Mike fighting. I want to see Mike continuing to do these exhibitions. I would tune in every time to watch him go at it like this. Not all the time, but like once, maybe a couple times a year for a year or two.
But fun. For how long?
2 years.
Does this work? 2 years. But does this work like we saw him? He ended on a high note.
If he does this three times, I would watch 3 times.
I'm actually surprised you said 3.
If he does this 3 times, I will watch him 3 times. With a Roy Jones, let's say
you want to see him fight at Holyfield?
If him and Evander start, could you imagine? That would be great to watch him and Evander kind of put on a sparring match. Like those are the things I would like to see it. It would feel big, especially if we can watch Mike Tyson and Evander go out there, spar 8 rounds, then come together at the end. I know that the bad blood is kind of like drifted away between the two, but to see them in a combative environment and then still be okay, I would love to see that, man. I think there's value in that. I think there's value in a lot of these. I think 2 or 3 times I can watch him do it.
It's funny because as much as I enjoyed it, and especially watching him, and we talk so much in combat sports about the depressing end, right? More often than not, it ends in a depressing way. So it was nice to see him kind of go out on his own terms. I would actually be okay if he never fought again, if this was it, if this was the lasting image that we see of Mike Tyson in the ring, because DC, people almost forget Mike Tyson. I was watching an interview with Mike Tyson and Howard Stern yesterday from 2013. Mike Tyson in that interview said he was broke, said he had no money 7 years ago. Mike Tyson is far from broke right now. And a lot of credit actually goes to his wife. I believe her name is Kiki, who really turned him around from a health standpoint, from a mental standpoint, from a business standpoint. He's got this Tyson Ranch. He's got a podcast. He's got all this stuff, this League of Legends thing. Like he is a success story now later in life, when it looked like he was going down the path of so many other boxers who are left with nothing, who are, in a depressing state and all this stuff. Tyson has really turned things around. I'm okay if this was it. And now he launches this new league. Now, the question to me is, okay, is there a future for a league like this? Because remember, Vitor Belfort has been trying to do something like this, and other fighters, and maybe even you come out of retirement at some point. Is there an interest in a League of Legends for combat sports where the old timers fight, or is that just a little weird because we're talking about combat sports?
But I only believe that it works it works when it's like what Mike and Roy did, where they fought hard, but nobody was getting knocked out, right? Like you saw him landing hard punches.
Mike was trying to knock him out.
I think Mike was hitting him harder to the body than in the head. I think he was hitting him hard, but harder to the body than he was in the head, which that to me was like crazy because like, when did you ever think that Mike Tyson would have control in sparring? Like he seemed like I know you put something the other like you think Mike Tyson was going easy on Roy Jones, bro?
He wasn't.
He wasn't. bro, he wasn't going easy, but he was not trying to kill him. He was fighting with control. It looked like when me and Cain Velasquez or somebody would spar in the gym. If Khabib is sparring with Islam Makhachev, he punches him hard, but